According to the foundational research by Nobel laureates Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, the psychological pain of losing $100 is more than twice as powerful as the pleasure you feel from gaining $100. This isn't a personality quirk. It's not a sign of weakness. It is a fundamental hardwired feature of the human brain. It's a cognitive bias called loss aversion, and it is likely the single most destructive force in your financial life. You've felt this before. The agony of a losing investment, the anxiety of a portfolio in the red, the urge to sell a winner just to feel safe. This is your brain's ancient wiring misfiring in the modern world. In the next 10 minutes, you will understand exactly what loss aversion is, how this invisible mental flaw dictates your financial choices, and learn a systematic way to override it, allowing you to make rational, profitable decisions with your money. So, what is loss aversion? At its core, it's an asymmetric response to gains and losses. We are programmed to prioritize avoiding losses over acquiring equivalent gains. This makes perfect sense from an evolutionary standpoint. For our early ancestors roaming the savannah, losing your only meal of the day was a direct threat to survival. Finding a second bonus meal was nice, but not nearly as impactful. The consequence of a loss was catastrophic. The benefit of a gain was merely incremental. Our brains therefore developed a powerful, sensitive alarm system to steer us away from potential losses. Survival depended on it. The problem is that this ancient, survival-oriented software is still running on our modern hardware, and in the world of investing, a world of calculated risks and statistical probabilities, this alarm system is disastrous. It causes us to overreact to small losses and underappreciate significant gains. This ancient programming creates two specific devastating behaviors in modern investors: selling winning stocks far too early and holding on to losing stocks for far, far too long. But why does our brain do this? What is the precise mechanism that traps us in this cycle of poor performance? The mechanism that drives loss aversion is the concept of a reference point. Your brain doesn't operate in terms of absolute wealth. It thinks in terms of gains and losses relative to a starting line. In investing, that starting line is almost always your purchase price. Theory: once you buy a stock, that price becomes a powerful psychological anchor. Any price above it exists in the domain of gains. Any price below it is in the domain of losses. How you behave in these two domains is completely different. When you have a gain, you become risk-averse, desperate to protect your winnings. When you have a loss, you become risk-seeking, willing to take huge gambles to get back to your reference point. Analogy: imagine investing is like a mountain hike, and your purchase price is your base camp at 5,000 feet. If your stock goes up to 6,000 feet, you've gained altitude. You feel good, but also nervous. The wind picks up, and your brain screams, "Don't lose this altitude. Head back to the safety of base camp now." So you sell, locking in your small gain, even though the summit, the stock's true potential, might be at 10,000 feet. You've become risk-averse. Now imagine the stock goes down to 4,000 feet. You're in a deep, cold valley. The idea of hiking back to base camp and admitting you lost 1,000 feet is psychologically painful. So you wait. A blizzard rolls in. The company reports bad news. Instead of cutting your losses and heading back, your brain says, "Just wait for the storm to pass. We can't go back with a loss." You are now willing to risk freezing to death, a total loss, just to avoid the pain of admitting you failed to make it back to your starting point. You've become risk-seeking. Example: let's put real numbers to this. You buy $5,000 of Company A and $5,000 of Company B. Company A does well and is now worth $6,000. Your risk-averse brain tells you to sell and lock in that $1,000 gain before it disappears. Company B has problems and is now worth $4,000. Your risk-seeking brain tells you, I'm not selling for a loss. I'll sell when it gets back to $5,000. The rational approach is to analyze both companies based on their future prospects, completely ignoring your purchase price. But loss aversion makes that irrelevant number the center of your universe. This single bias sabotages your entire investment portfolio. A good financial advisor knows their primary job is often behavioral coaching, guiding clients away from these self-destructive impulses. It's a core challenge in all wealth management, managing emotion. This bias even affects our view of insurance. We willingly accept a small, certain loss, the premium, to avoid the terrifying prospect of a large, uncertain one. This bias manifests in two mistakes that kill investment returns. Pitfall number 1, Get-Even-itis. This is the disease of holding a losing position with the desperate hope of just getting back to even. Your entry price is a sunk cost. It is irrelevant to the company's future. Anchoring your sell decision to it is like refusing to leave a burning building because you paid a lot for the furniture. Pitfall. Number 2, watering your weeds, cutting your flowers. This is the logical conclusion of the bias. You consistently sell your best-performing assets to lock in small gains, cutting the flowers, while you allow your worst-performing assets to grow larger and larger, hoping they turn around, watering the weeds. This is the exact opposite of what you should be doing. These mistakes are the silent killers of compounding. But what if you could install a simple, logical system to completely remove this emotional flaw from your process? The advanced strategy: automate your decisions before emotion can intervene. You do this with two powerful tools, the stop-loss order and the trailing stop-loss order. A stop-loss order is an instruction you give your broker to sell a stock if it falls to a specific price. This is your logical, pre-committed self making a decision for your future, emotional self. When you buy a stock at $100, you immediately place a stop-loss at, say, $90. You have systematically defined your maximum acceptable loss. If the stock drops, the trade executes automatically. There is no agonizing, no get-even-itis. You've taken the emotion out of cutting a loser. A trailing stop-loss order is even more powerful. It lets your winners run while protecting your profits. You can set it to trail the stock's highest price by a certain percentage, say 10%. If the stock goes from $100 to $120, your new sell trigger is now $108. $120 minus 10%. If it goes to $150, your sell trigger moves up to $135. If the stock then pulls back and hits $135, your order triggers, and you are sold automatically, locking in a massive gain. This single tool systemizes the process of letting your flowers grow to their full potential, while ensuring you never let one turn into a weed. It's an automated system for rational decision-making. Let's consolidate this into its 3 essential takeaways. Your brain is not built for investing. It is hardwired by evolution to fear loss twice as much as it enjoys gain. This bias, loss aversion, is the source of your worst financial impulses. Your purchase price is a dangerous anchor. Loss aversion traps you by making your entry price a reference point, causing you to sell winners too soon. Risk aversion, and hold losers too long, risk-seeking. Systemize to defeat emotion. You can override this flawed wiring by using automated tools like stop-loss and trailing stop-loss orders. These tools force you to make logical decisions before your emotional brain has a chance to sabotage you. Understanding this bias is the first step. Building systems to defeat it is how you achieve mastery. If this analysis provided you with real value, invest a single click in the subscribe button to get daily access to the Codex. Knowledge is the new capital. We'll see you tomorrow.